Hello everybody, and welcome to lesson 6 out of 15 of the Digital SAT Reading and Writing course. Today's lesson is going to be on word and context questions. So let's get straight into it. What's important? So first of all, the structure so you can recognize when you're going to be questioned on this. So a word and context prompt will present you with a passage that has a flow, and there's going to be a blank where there's a missing word. And it's going to be up to you to pick which word would most logically complete the text. Now, details are going to be very important in these questions because you're trying to continue the flow of ideas or keep the tone the same, and maybe if there's a transition in it to also allow that transition to flow more smoothly. And of course, having a large vocabulary would be very helpful because they like to try to trick you with very complex words. So let's try some examples here. Which choice completes the text with the most logical and precise word or phrase? When you see this question prompt, you're going to know that you're being tested on a word and context question. So let's get straight into the prompt. Researchers and conservationists stress that biodiversity loss due to invasive species is blank. For example, people can take simple steps such as washing their footwear after travel to avoid introducing potentially invasive organisms into new environments. So it's important to pay attention to the flow of ideas here. What they're basically saying is that biodiversity loss due to invasive species is something, and then they're basically listing ways that you can prevent biodiversity loss, such as washing your footwear and avoiding introducing potentially invasive organisms. So that would give you some hints as to what the answer here might be. So if we look at the answer choices, we have concerning, common, undeniable, and preventable. So of course, knowing what we know about the flow of ideas here, that would make it pretty obvious that preventable is the correct answer here, because if we just plug it in, we can say that biodiversity loss due to invasive species is preventable. For example, you can take steps such as washing your footwear to avoid introducing potentially invasive organisms into new environments. Our key word here, which is going to give us this answer, is introducing potentially invasive organisms. That gives a hint to the preventable idea that they're trying to get across. And in terms of undeniable, common, or concerning, this supporting sentence right here would be talking about how it would either be undeniable, common, or concerning. So let's go on to the next one. It is by no means blank to recognize the influence of Dutch painter, his name, on Ali Benasadr's paintings. Indeed, he himself cites Bosch as an inspiration. However, some scholars have suggested that the ancient Mesopotamian poem, Epic of Gilgamesh, may have had a far greater impact on his work. So our answer choices here are substantial, satisfying, unimportant, or appropriate. What we're looking at here is, once again, if we look at the idea, we're saying that it is by no means something to recognize the influence of one person on another person's paintings. So we're saying that the second person himself cites the first one as an inspiration. So we're saying that Bosch right here had an influence on Ali's paintings, and he himself cites Bosch as an inspiration. Okay, and we can say that, this sentence here tries to offer a different viewpoint, which might distract you from the correct answer. So based on the fact that we can see Ali right here cites Bosch as an inspiration, we can say that the answer would be C, because we're basically acknowledging that Bosch right here had an influence on Ali, because Ali himself said he was an inspiration. So it is by no means unimportant to recognize the influence. That means it is important to recognize the influence of Bosch's impact on Ali. In habitats with limited nutrients, certain fungus species grow on the roots of trees, engaging in mutually beneficial relationships known as ectomycorrhizae. In this symbiotic exchange, the tree provides the fungus with carbon and nutrient necessary for both species and the fungus blank by enhancing the tree's ability to absorb nitrogen, another key nutrient from the soil. So we can look right here at the idea. We're talking about how the trees and the fungus have a mutually beneficial relationship. Mutually means that it goes both ways. One benefits the other, and the other benefits the former. Okay, and then that's also just bolstered right here by saying that enhancing the tree's ability to absorb nitrogen. So if we look right here, we can say overreacts, reciprocates, retaliates, and deviates. We know that retaliates is basically acting in response to a negative act. Overreacting would basically it doesn't mean you're helping, definitely not. And deviates is completely unrelated to helping at all. So the correct answer would be B, reciprocates, because if the tree provides, the fungus would reciprocate by enhancing the tree's ability to absorb nitrogen. In Nature Poem 2017, poet Tommy Pico portrays his blank, the natural world, by honoring the centrality of nature within his tribe's traditional beliefs, while simultaneously expressing his distaste for being in wilderness settings himself. So once again, we can look at the idea here. He's saying that he's honoring the centrality of nature within his tribe's traditional beliefs, but also transition here, expressing his distaste for being in the wilderness himself. So we can see he's kind of split. Okay, so he honors nature, but also doesn't really like being in wilderness himself. So now we can look at the choices: responsiveness to, ambivalence toward, renunciation of, and mastery over. So the fact that he is on both sides would make ambivalence the correct answer. Responsiveness to would not be correct because he's not responding, he's just on both sides. Once again, renunciation of means that he's taking away, so kind of he's taking away his like for nature, or maybe he's renouncing his honor of the natural world, which he's not doing. He just is saying that he doesn't really like it, but he still can honor it. And mastery over, he definitely doesn't have mastery over it if he doesn't like being in the wilderness. So that would be the correct answer there. Some final tips before we wrap up the lesson. Of course, first, read through the text and get an understanding of the idea, maybe the transition or the tones. And then, of course, check your answer choices. See which one would make sense, which one would follow the idea or the flow of ideas. And, of course, check the word or phrase. You can put it in and see if it fits in smoothly. And also, if you don't know what some of the words mean, you can make a guess. So kind of like here, if you don't know what ambivalence means, you can make a educated guess, because ambi, that means two, and valence, that kind of means like side. Okay, so two sides. So ambivalence could mean something related to two sides, which in this case it does, right? So just use your best judgment. Thank you for watching this video. And of course, please subscribe. It helps me make more free videos for you all. And good luck taking any SATs in the future.